Hey everybody, Drew here for the Drew podcast here on the YouTube channel Drew Games. Episode number, God knows whatever it is, because none of this is written down. Joining me for whatever number episode of the Drew podcast this is my younger brother, Desert Nord, as I call him on the other podcast. My younger brother, Robb. Hey, bro.
Hey there.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about updates from the previous episode of the Gina Carano getting fired from Disney and Lucasfilm situation. And also, I want to talk about Tom Macdonald and the recent discovering by me of his music and whatnot through Friday Night Tights on Friday. And what I've been up to with that and what I plan on doing in the future with that stuff. So with that said, we're going to just get right into the Gina Carano business. As we all know, she got fired recently from Lucasfilm and Disney, right?
Yep.
But apparently, reports have come out, and she did an interview talking about the timeline of how she found out. She never got a phone call from Disney. She had to find out, just like us, by the articles on the internet.
Yep. She said she found out on Twitter, which is very telling, actually.
Yeah. And on top of it, she also got a new job recently, too.
Yeah.
But before I get into what her new job is, because her new job is very telling for the fact of her post not being anti-Semitic or anything like that towards the Jewish people, because she got hired by Ben fucking Shapiro.
Yeah.
The most Jewish guy you're going to find on the internet.
Well, maybe not the most, but certainly, yeah.
Well, he's the most prideful about it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes all of Lucasfilm and Disney, the fact that she got hired by the Daily Wire to do work for them with a movie and whatever else that they're going to be doing for their subscribers and whatnot.
Yeah.
It makes Disney and Lucasfilm look like complete and utter. Considering the music I've been listening to right now, I'm not going to censor this any fucking more. Go fuck yourself. It makes Disney and Lucasfilm look like fucking fascists and Nazis.
Well, let me just say this. They've forced it to be nothing but politics now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've forced it to be like, if you don't politically side with them, you are gone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how they work now. That's how they operate. They don't give a shit about talent. They don't give a shit about, merit. They don't give a shit about ability. They don't give a shit about anything else besides how many diversity boxes do you check and are you a leftist? If neither one of those two are checked, you're out. You're out and you're never in.
Quite. So.
That's how Disney works now.
Yeah. Well, that's obvious. And also recently.
Or at least Lucasfilm specifically in this case.
And recently, Kathleen Kennedy did something for the Oscars, a video package talking about how, like, 3 ladies win these, like, achievement awards for the Oscars and whatnot. And talking about female empowerment. And guess what?
Yeah.
That video got ratioed to oblivion.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of watching a video that Ryan Kindle was talking about this, which he didn't get to the comments yet because we started this here. But I imagine the comments are going to be funnier than hell to watch of Kathleen Kennedy talking about, we need to empower women. Yeah, what about Gina?
Yeah, no, I mean, Kathleen's a psycho. And she's, frankly, I don't even know how with it these people are mentally anymore. I mean, they basically just kicked, a quarter of the entire fan base in the balls, if not half of it.
Well, I think, like,
some people would argue even more than half of it, but I'm just being conservative about it. I'm not saying like the whole fan base of Star Wars is all people that are offended by Gina getting fired, because apparently not. just look at guys like Kevin, Kevin Smith.
Yeah. I will say...
You don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck.
I will say this, and I'm not going to be conservative about this. Go back to The Last Jedi. You split the fan base right down the middle in half.
Yeah.
And that's a good estimate.
Yeah.
That's being positive about it.
Some things have shifted since then. That was several years ago.
So therefore, in looking back to The Last Jedi, you cut it in half. Okay. Half of those people ran screaming into the night from The Last Jedi. I was almost one of them, and for a little while I was.
I was very angry about that, obviously.
So was I.
And I had said so among my friends that I was like, this is just stupid.
And now you've basically kneecapped, if not the other half of what you had left, and sent them to run screaming into the night. You might have sent the rest of us.
It's really been a lot of ball kicking. To try and be a Star Wars fan and a Lucasfilm fan has been a lot of ball kicks to receive. And this was just like the last. We're already laying on the ground saying, please stop, please. And that's when Lucasfilm decides to just stand on our fucking nuts one last time. And some of us are like, that's it, we're done. Fuck you, go die, we're done. We're fucking done with your company. We're done with your bullshit. We're done with Star Wars, basically, because of you people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where a lot of us are at now. We're like fucking done with the whole thing, the whole series. It's fucking over. Like I said on our other podcasts.
Basically. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm now in the same boat as Gary from Nerdrotic.com. Completely pessimist, completely dead and numb to all Star Wars at this point, with the exception of the original trilogy, the prequels, and the games that Disney fucking hates because they say they're not canon. I say fuck you, they are. So.
Yeah, I'm not as like extremist as some people on this issue. I mean, to me, it's not 100%, but it's not because of Lucasfilm. If these people retain control of the series, I'll never like it, ever, at any point. If they don't have control pulled away from them, then I'll never like it. Ever again. I'll never watch a preview for a movie. I'll never watch a preview for a TV show. I'll never watch a preview for a streaming show. It doesn't even matter what it is. If they're in control of it, I won't like it. I'm going to hate it. In fact, with those specific people at the helm, I'm going to hate it. And for some of us, we don't even just stop at like not liking the shit. At this point, we basically have a good reason to go over and kick them in the balls and get in the way of their, march, we'll say.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. That all we can really talk about with the Gina. Oh, there is one last thing with the Gina situation. Someone has come out defending her recently.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a guess at who that is? And I don't know if you'll get it right, though.
Well, I do know that basically it's strictly political at this point. So people that are on her side are basically the political end of YouTube that happen to be right wing, essentially.
This guy has no I'm pretty sure he has no connection to YouTube. I know he has a connection to Gina, because this is the statement that I would have to give you for the hint of this person's identity. Your past becomes your present.
Yeah, well,
it's somebody from Gina's past.
Mystery games here, bro.
It's Dana White.
Yeah, well, Dana is a right-winger. I mean, nobody would say he wasn't. So, again, my point continues.
Yeah, he recently came out defending her former employer, by the way. In case none of you watching know that Gina is a former UFC cage fighter.
Yeah, and Dana White defends all of his people that he employs, even if he doesn't care about their opinions.
Yeah.
He never did. In fact, he's run his company brilliantly. He said, if you want to be, if you want to be a Trump hater, you want to be a Trump lover, you want to be political as fuck, be that. Don't care. Not going to fire you no matter what the fuck you say. I'll fire your ass if you don't perform properly, if you don't do your damn job properly. Then I'll fire you.
For example, if you take performance-enhancing drugs and get in the ring, which is forbidden in UFC.
Sure.
Even though that happened with Brock Lesnar, and he wound up getting his victory voided because of it.
Yeah.
While he was Universal Champion.
So Dana White is not surprising to me, because this has been his policy from the word go.
Yeah.
The man has always let people say what they want and, believe what they want in his organization. And he'll always be that way, and that's great. That's the way they all should be.
Which is why I've always genuinely respected the man. I've never been a fan of the UFC because I don't really care for that, but it is what it is. And I said what I said, and I'm not ever taking it back.
Well, yeah, well, I'm no UFC fan either, but still.
Regardless of any of that, speaking of not taking things back, one man that needs to be supported because he is obviously exercising his right of free speech, as I have bought a couple of albums from him and a t-shirt from his site just the other day. And he recently posted on Twitter that he's going to be taking some personal time to himself, considering how many videos he's put out, how many albums he's made, and he's burning himself out. Please, Tom Macdonald, just take it easy, focus on you.
Yeah, it's because his latest album caught a lot of attention.
Yeah. We'll still be here for you, regardless.
But also partly because of, obviously, the message is very popular.
Hey, in more ways than one. And, you can't cancel him.
So we have to understand that Tom has been producing music for several years. And, this wasn't his first. This wasn't, some would argue this wasn't even his best album. But he definitely loves to trash on SJWs and PC culture, especially cancel culture lately.
I will say this, with this current album that he has right now, he's hitting a nerve that he hasn't really hit before, I think.
I think the one thing that Tom raps the most about is how much of a disgrace
the music industry is.
Pop culture has become.
Yeah, but from what I saw from some of his earlier videos, he started out mostly just ranting on the music industry, mostly at first.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's where he was at that point. I mean, that was kind of like his main focus of saying, hey, look, here's how I'm different. Here's how I disagree with all of you people, and here's how I plan to, express that. And that was his first album, There was a little bit of, there's always been a little bit of politics. He's always injected politics. But he's not anybody's idea of a conservative, though. He's just some things here and there. The guy's willing to slap everybody across the face on this issue.
Yeah.
So
with that said, you can color me a member of the whatchamacallit of his fan base, the Hangover Gang now at this point. Since now I have an account on his site, I've purchased some of his stuff and whatnot, and I now intend to react to his stuff from YouTube now here on this channel. So going forward, especially since he seems to want us to do that. So fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll do it.
Tom is a very good, very talented theme rapper, we'll say. If I can coin a term.
Go for it.
His narrative abilities with lyrics are very interesting.
Yeah.
Normally that type of preachy rap gets annoying, but when he's pointing out valid points, that's when you go, oh, okay, wow.
As Tom Macdonald
disagree with the guy at that point.
As Tom Macdonald said in one of his own bars in one of his own songs, facts don't damage points of view that are legitimate.
Sure, yeah, I know.
And that's 100% true.
Say it's White Boy and do rappers. And, again, all of these songs are very to the point.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't usually.
He doesn't dance around pussyfoot like everybody else.
Pull punches. He just fucking lets you have it. He lets the audience just have it.
He swings for the fences from the very first bar that he speaks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna fanboy out as much as perhaps you will here.
Well, yeah.
I'll just say that Tom is definitely talented, definitely deserves the whatever he's getting right now, which I assume is a lot of money and a lot of fame.
Oh, well, he deserves it at this point.
And I appreciate his work. I think he's done some really, really important things for, we'll just say, rap. And for people who want to express this feeling of feeling like degeneracy has become winning, his music is basically like, stop being degenerate scum in rap form.
I feel at this point, after watching enough people's reactions to Tom's stuff and whatnot, I feel comfortable with saying this on camera now about Tom Macdonald at this point.
Yeah.
He's the voice of reason that has been dormant since George Carlin passed away.
Well, there's always been people in the music community, depending on where you look, I guess, that have, hit the nail on the head, so to speak.
Yeah.
He has positioned himself in a place where his message is very popular, especially on the internet, especially among people like us, where we're sick and fucking tired of people going online and trying to find people to disagree with to delete from existence. We're sick of that shit. Yeah. We're sick of people not being able to deal with other people's opinions. We're sick of people trying to say that if you disagree with me, you're evil. Those people need to chill the fuck out and perhaps shut the fuck up occasionally. Okay? Because evil is not that rampant right now. Okay? They may think it is. They've chucked up all their personal emotions, all their personal strife, all their personal failures into somebody else's fault. And they've got to go find the social enemy, the societal enemy that's the reason for all their problems and feelings and emotional breakdowns and mental illness and all that. And just at them all day, just screech at them all day. That's their life, and that's those Twitter people. That's how they live, that's their life, that's their mind.
And that's another thing.
And that shit is toxic. It's poisonous. It's killing everything.
And that's another thing that I do want to mention, that
Tom is the clear opposition to all of that.
It seems to me that in our society right now, mental illness is largely going undiagnosed for way too many people.
Well, I mean, far too many mentally ill people are being humored instead of identified as such.
And instead of getting the help that they desperately need.
I mean, okay, here's an example. If somebody were pantsless in the street, eating a ham sandwich they found on the ground and half drunk and whatnot, you wouldn't walk up to that person and, while they're mumbling random words, try to have an intelligent, intellectual conversation with this person. You would assume this person needs help, right? Well, in today's society, those people their opinions are being legally validated, legally enshrined, and they're being I don't know, would we put up on a hero pedestal or something?
Yeah.
That's problematic in and of itself. Even though they like to use that word a lot. That is problematic.
It certainly is. And there's a reason why I'm wearing my Ron Paul t-shirt for this episode. I knew we were going to get a little political for it at times.
Sure.
And with that said, I've gotten this question in the past while trying to play video games. I prefer keeping it like on this particular podcast, the Drew Dad podcast, which is not centered around gaming or anything like that. I want to keep the gaming stuff by itself and keep this stuff right here in this little box. So with that said, as we've said on a previous episode of this particular podcast, Desert North or Rob and I are both staunch libertarians. I do not lean left or right. I might have leaned right in the past, but I don't give a shit about that anymore. What matters is what this shirt says, defending the Constitution. Something our government doesn't give a flying fuck about anymore.
I'm not particularly shy about saying that I do lean to the right of things politically.
Yeah. I prefer staying right where I'm comfortable, and that's right here in the middle, not leaning right or left. But I have had a history of leaning right. And at times I have agreed on a couple of things that the left has done in the past, here and there. But that's mostly hit and miss, though.
Yeah.
Both sides do have good points every now and then. But the fact of the matter is, I hate extremes on both sides.
Yeah, I can definitely agree that extremists of all stripes are really the only bad guys in the question here.
Yeah. So to answer the question...
And basic opposition to leftism is not extreme right either. They need to stop with that shit.
So to answer the question, previously asked in a stream of me playing a game, I believe it was Ghost of Tsushima at the time. Who did I support in the most recent election? Neither. I answered that on the stream. It's still the same answer now. Not Trump nor Biden. I in fact stayed the fuck home on election day, like I've done since 2012 when I last voted. It was Ron Paul, guys.
Yeah, well, I, at risk of everyone's ire, did indeed vote for Donald Trump.
And it doesn't matter.
And the reason I say that is because, in a war, as this basically is at this point,
certainly feels like it.
There's no way of winning by not fighting. That's all I have to say about it.
There's only just trying to be true to yourself, and that's all you really should be doing. All of us, in fact.
But let's not underestimate the level of cowardice a lot of people have. And that shit's not bravery. Bravery and cowardice are opposites, not the same fucking thing.
Bravery is calling out your haters, saying, you can't cancel me. Like Tom.
Yeah,
that's fucking bravery.
People who engage in cancel culture, as in, because this person disagrees with me, they need to be silenced, are cowards. They're not brave. None of them are brave in any real way. And here's the other thing, just like we've seen with James Gunn, the absolute hypocrite he is, he gets canceled, then gets uncanceled by his own side, and then he laughs at Gina's canceling. Scum. Just absolute human trash. What the fuck? Why did we even bother defending James Gunn from the cancers? He deserved it. Clearly.
Yeah. And on another update with the Gina situation, I'm seeing on my screen now that people are discussing, like the quartering, apparently Gina's character, Cara Dune, getting recasted. Potentially. What a fucking shocker.
Yeah, of course.
And apparently the Looney Tunes are either wanting some Lucy person or everyone's favorite asshole on the internet, as I call her, Brie Larson.
Yeah, well, it has to be somebody leftist and woke. That's the only one they'll accept at this point.
If it's Brie Larson, well, Disney and Star Wars can burn down for all I care now at this point. So if you cast Brie Larson as fucking Cara Dune, have fun with your new fucking series, and have fun trying to keep Jon Favreau to lead it, by the way, at that point. And have fun trying to keep George now at this point, by the way, because I know that he's been pissed about Gina's firing and how it happened too. So, and by the way, George is a leftist too, so even he's pissed about all of this. Think about it for a minute, guys.
Yep.
But with that being said, I've said all that I wanted to say on this episode of the podcast. Do you have anything else?
No, I guess I've pretty much said my piece, maybe even too much.
So, well, I think we probably both said too much, but it is what it is. Gina's amazing. Tom Macdonald is the GOAT, as he says himself, and I believe that he is. He is the GOAT of the music industry at this point.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better from here. So, with that said... soon his girlfriend's album's going to be dropping, which is Nova Rockefeller.
Yeah.
And her video Gang is something that you guys should go check out, too. It's about her relationship with Tom, so. And I did watch that video, and honestly, I was tearing the hell up when watching that. That was a beautiful music video by Tom and Nova, so. The two of them are absolutely beautiful together, and Tom, you should really marry her at this point, considering how long the two of you have clearly been together. But either way, this has been the Drew Dad Podcast. We got overly political, obviously, but we needed to at this point to explain shit to people.
Yeah.
And covered the internet darling that is Tom Macdonald and Gina Carano and Nova Rockefeller. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and this will be airing. I'm going to set it to air on Thursday. We're filming it on a Wednesday this week because, and we're doing that for the gaming podcast in a few minutes too. Because I have to work on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays now. So it is what it is.
Yep.
So with that said, this will air Thursday. Gaming podcast will still air on Friday afternoon as usual. With that being said, I'm gonna cut it here. Get ready for the other podcast. We will see you guys next time. Have a good day, good morning, good night. And God be with Tom Macdonald because they're going to go after his ass.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Later.